Hello, I'm Holly. I'm one of the volunteer managers here at the Felix project. I'm going to be running through a short info session with you as you're interested in volunteering in our West London depot in Park Royal. I will be covering the problem, our story, so who is Felix, what we do and how you can become a volunteer with us. So what is the problem? So in the UK, our food poverty rate is amongst the worst in Europe. Pre-pandemic, there were 1.5 million adults and around 400,000 children who were facing hunger in London. During the pandemic, food insecurity more than doubled, and now 1 in 4 young people are experiencing food insecurity, and 14% of adults living with children are experiencing moderate or severe food insecurity. A Lord's report published last year said that lower-income families were left with little or no choice about diet, forced to eat unhealthy food or simply go without. With regards to food waste, worldwide, about a third of the food that is produced is wasted, and if food waste were a country, it would be the third highest emitter of greenhouse gases behind the USA and China. Here in the UK, we waste almost 10 million tonnes of food every year, and 30% of this food waste actually comes from manufacturing or processing, retail, hospitality, and the food service, which means that a significant amount of food is wasted before it even reaches our homes. So what is our story? We were set up by Jane and Justin Byamshaw. So this is my son Felix, who died suddenly from meningitis in 2014. Felix was full of compassion for those without his advantages, and in early 2015, I was searching for a way to commemorate him. What stuck in my mind was a boys' football tournament he'd played in. Felix told me he'd been upset to learn that many of the 10-year-old boys on the opposing team hadn't had anything to eat that day. And that's where the Felix Project was born, back in 2016. So our vision is that there is a London where no one goes hungry and good food is never wasted. Together, we believe we can win the fight against food waste and hunger in London. So what do we do and how do we do this? So we have 4 warehouses and a kitchen which are based across London. So we have a warehouse in Park Royal in West London, we have one in Enfield in North London, we have one in Deptford in South London, and our newest depot is based in Poplar in East London. In addition to the depot and Poplar, we also have a kitchen called Felix's Kitchen, and this is where any of the food that we cannot give out to our organisations gets cooked up and made into meals, and then these meals get delivered to the organisations that we support. We have 31 vans across London. Most of these are linked to a depot. However, we do have a fleet of green electric vans which sit within central London. And these, along with walking and cycling routes, make up our central London operation. We currently work with 500 suppliers and we're delivering to nearly 1,000 organisations across London. But none of this is possible without volunteers. At the moment, we have about 650 volunteers that are doing at least 1 shift a month. However, we have volunteers that do much more than that. So these are just some of the suppliers that we work with. We really focus on surplus food, so food that would otherwise have gone to waste. We have a real focus on fresh, nutritious food. So within our depots, you will see lots of fruit, vegetables, bread, dairy, meat, fish, in addition to other types of food. We work with supermarkets, we work with bakeries, we work directly with suppliers, we work with high-end retailers. All the food we receive would have probably gone to waste. As long as it's within date, it hasn't been contaminated and it's fit for human consumption, then we will do our best to take that food from our suppliers and deliver it to people in London who need it. So these are just some of the organisations that we support across London. When an organisation gets in touch with us, we will ask them how many people they're supporting, the type of food that they would like to receive, if there's any food that they're unable to take, and then this will produce a wish list, and then we do our best to match an organisation's wish list with the food that we have available to them. Once an organisation has received food, they will either parcel that food up and give it out to the individuals that they support, or they will use that food to cook with, to produce meals, and then use food as a way to reduce social isolation. So just a little bit about our impact during the pandemic. During the first lockdown in March 2020, we worked with FareShare and City Harvest to form the London Food Alliance. So this meant that between the three organisations, we were delivering to every borough across London, who would set up a hub where individuals could get food. As the Felix project, we now deliver enough food for 125,000 meals a day, and each week about 260,000 people in London receive food from the Felix project. In 2020, we delivered enough food for 21 million meals compared to 6 million meals in 2019, and we have an ambition to be delivering 100 million meals by the end of 2024. So volunteering at the Felix project. These are the roles that we have available to you at our Park Royal depot. So we need depot assistants. You would be part of a team between 6 and 10 of you, would be responsible for sorting the incoming food from our suppliers and then preparing that food for delivery out to our organisations. We then are looking for people who would like to drive for us. If you'd like to drive, you will need to be over 21 years old, have been driving for at least a year, and have no more than 6 points on your licence. Our drivers are obviously responsible for driving our green Felix vans, making deliveries to the organisations that we support, but also making collections from our suppliers. If you would like to go out in a van but you don't feel like driving or you're unable to, maybe the role of co-driver would be for you. So co-drivers accompany drivers out in the vans. They help with navigation, they help with maybe getting in touch with some of our organisations and suppliers, and they also help with loading and unloading the van. We have a small office in Park Royal and we have opportunities for volunteers to help in the office. And then we also have opportunities for people to be allocators. So your role, again, would be based in the office and you would be looking at the organisations that we're going to be making deliveries to and almost picking their order so that the depot team can put all the food in the crates and get it ready for delivery. So this is just generally about volunteering with Felix. There's no minimum commitment. We would obviously love to see you as much as possible. However, we understand that people have other things going on. We never want volunteers to be out of pocket, so we provide travel expenses. You can claim up to £6.60 a day if you come via public transport, or you can claim up to £10 a day for mileage or parking if you drive. We will provide food for lunch and snacks while you're on your shift with us. And we also will be offering training opportunities. So we have a new online learning management system where there will be some mandatory but also optional training that you will be able to access as a volunteer with us. So these are just a few important policies and procedures that we wanted to highlight to you. We have a safeguarding policy which aims to prevent vulnerable adults and children from experiencing abuse, neglect and exploitation. We also have a zero tolerance policy on any form of discrimination. And finally, we have a confidentiality policy. So it's really important that volunteers and staff keep any personal information, including names of people we work with or the names of locations of the organisations we provide food to, completely confidential. So becoming a volunteer. These are the shift times in our depot in Park Royal. So most of our shifts happen Monday to Friday. However, we do also operate during the day on a Saturday and then also on a Sunday morning. In addition to the regular volunteering, we do have one-off opportunities such as gleaning. So this is when a team of volunteers would go normally outside of London to a farm that has produce left over that they're not able to sell. And as a team, you would go and collect that produce, maybe pick the produce, and then that would be brought back to one of our depots and then distributed to the organisations that we support. So how do you become a volunteer? You either attend this info session or listen to it now. Then you'll be sent an email where you'll need to fill out a short application form, which should take about 5 minutes. You'll need to complete some online mandatory training, which will cover manual handling and basic food safety. And then after that, you'll be able to book your first shift. So if you do have any questions about volunteering with us, you can always get in touch. Our email address is volunteer@thefelixproject.org, and we hope to see you on a shift very soon.